Hey everybody, this is Marsilio, and thanks for taking time out of your weekend to check out my take on markets. I try and keep these videos pretty quick, but do like to spend some time on review. So last week, my take was semiconductor selling and possible Google and Apple buying. And as it turns out, this was one of the better moves in the week. Nvidia didn't drop much from week to week, but the semiconductor index did. And here's, let's see, performance 1 week. Google and Apple up, semiconductors down. So I've managed to do this a few times in a row, so I'm going to do my best to figure out the next move. The other call I want to highlight is I'm talking about this 40.15 level on Ethereum almost several times in tweets and the last week's video. And early on the day on Thursday, I noticed how it was reacting to this level and sent out an alert. So that's when I tweeted this out, saying dropping from this level, and that was pre-news. But if things start moving down, then that's going to be in for a drop. So this is really the first bearish sounding tweet I've had in cryptos in quite some time, and I think everyone's aware of the results. I know everybody wants to hear the next move, so I'll give it my best shot by the end of the video. And then the other interesting review points, at the same time, I thought the ES high would likely be in for the week, and that was on track. And something I've been doing recently in my quick takes in the morning, putting out some intraday notes, kind of a work in progress for us, Stab. I mean, not really. Actually, I've been doing this for a long time, but haven't been doing the intraday stuff recently. So it is an informed opinion. But in any case, this was Wednesday, and thought there was a chance of seeing down pressure into 330. And the way it played out was pretty astonishingly big drop right into 330, low of the day, 1 minute away, and held a kind of a daily pivot at the same time. So this is what I like to call technical and timing perfection, when I have a timing down event at 330 and the market's dropping onto intraday support exactly the same time. And that was a nice move to catch it one way down and went one way up and even hold overnight. One last thing that I came into last week saying a positive data edge that had been in play the previous week was over. There was that one was about a week, and but another positive for indexes was in play Wednesday, Thursday. We got a high test out of it. So this is how it works. There's many different cycles, so there are different data edges, and as much as I can quantify the individual threads or the individual components, the sum total is always a judgment call. Okay, so that's the review. So what is next? Let's just take a quick look at some key charts, and then I'll get to the data edges, and then I'll give my best stab for the next move. So here's S&P, and after a monster move from last October, we've had 2 weeks of kind of sideways range-bound action. This is not yet a pullback. A pullback would be more down to 5,000 area at least. And the question for me is whether this level, so that's about 51.10, continues to hold as support. If it does, there's really no bear scenario, and it has tested a few times and it's cleared a few times. So the question is if it holds in the coming week, and I think that's going to be up to Jay Powell and the Fed. Bitcoin, if you look at the intraday chart or a 4-hour chart, it looks like a big drop, but to me, that so far this is just a massively bullish hold of the prior closing high on the weekly chart. And I think it's again all going to come down to Jay Powell, because if he sounds dovish, this could just skyrocket higher. I mean, right now, this bar is just actually quite bullish. Test of the prior high and not much selling. So Stay tuned for my take on JPOW. It's coming up. The other thing, I did point out how good gold looked a couple weeks ago. So prior to the semiconductor and Apple and Google call, I alerted, or my take was gold looked about to jet, and jet it did. So that's doing well, just for people who are in that trade, watching the level on GLD around 200. But when we go into a daily chart, well, that's the level in the futures, so sometimes that happens. But a daily chart is just above very strong rising support. So I want to see if that holds, and it's not really clear selling yet. And in an asset that's got a multi-year breakout, with impressive volume and everything else you want to see behind it, we want to give the trend the benefit of the doubt. And then the other thing I want to point out is, what do I do with all this? Well, I have a technical system, and the people that I've been talking to recently who are struggling to find their system, like, you shouldn't just do something because I say to do it. I'm hoping to offer thoughts that are helpful to you and integrate with a system. Even if I come into the week bullish or bearish, I'm not going to do anything unless my technicals agree. And if they agree with my timing bias, then that is a sign to me to go larger. One of the things I really like that I find highly valuable, because it's kind of a smart money tell, is the VIX. And despite the drop on Friday, VIX right now is still saying no sweat. How do I know that? Because it stayed below all pivots, the orange dots. It could have closed above. If market was in real trouble, VIX would be up here, 16, 17, but it's not yet, not now. And I just look at this day to day. If VIX is down on Monday, Tuesday, now it might not be. We might have up, but if it stays below, especially 1470, market is really not worried about anything. Now, I think, given the sideways chop we've had a couple weeks and the Fed meeting, I don't think there's going to be a big move in front of the Fed meeting, but we'll see. The other smart money tell I like to watch, especially for indexes a little bit more than cryptos, is high yield bond index. So this finished slightly below this level. If we were due for a big drop in market, we're going to see this coming down, likely before equities, although sometimes get little clues, like last September, it's clearly weaker, and then equities rolled over. So it's just something I like to keep an eye on. Let's see. So one reason I think that upside is a little limited from here is that sentiment is getting pretty frothy. So this is a put call on a weekly chart. The blue line is a simple 10 MA, and we are down into area that relatively few months or weeks have been this low. And I'm bracketing this entirely as it was the QE Infinity work from home day trade options rally, and that's just not happening. But there is a Fed meeting this week, and so let's look to that in a minute. And the next thing I want to get into is some data edges. I like to be data driven in all this. Now, the source of my data is very unusual, but this gives a certain edge that no one else is looking at. And at the end of last week, I hadn't actually reviewed everything, and I thought, okay, Monday has a bearish edge in play that I knew about, and that's still in play. But actually, there are a couple other positives. So to me, this is a mixed week. So mixed timing usually means mixed markets, and everything's going to come down to JPOW. Now, no one is expecting a change in interest rates at this meeting. How do I know that? It's because I'm looking at the CMA rate hike odds, 98%, no change. So it's all going to be guidance and whether he's cutting in the future. And why could he open the door to that? Because inflation's dropping by their own measures. And even though everyone's watching these month to month, at this point, the change, we're getting back down to their target range. So that if he opens the door to cutting rates, the market implications, I think, will be pretty clear. Dollar will drop, equities will rally, cryptos will launch, and commodities also bid. So energy and gold should also participate. So let's see. If I'm picking a best move for the current week, I'm actually going to be, I think, a little more bullish than my Finastro colleagues, but this is really a guesstimate. What happens at the Fed, I really don't. Sometimes it seems like I have a crystal ball, but I really don't. And it's a speculative method. I think my best guesstimate is J Powell sounds dovish enough, and the result of the meeting is dovish. And then we get the moves that I just mentioned. And then before I sign off, I just want to go. I could do this a little bit out of order this time, but I'm going to go back to my data edges and show you the kinds of things that I'm looking at that I hope to communicate in a no astrolingo way in the near future. And if you're interested in my work, here's how to stay abreast of it. So first of all, let's see. I'm going to pick one. And I want to keep this astrolingo free. There's a larger edge in play that's already in play that I think helps support the markets. This is in play already, among best data in bull markets for S&P. Anything for the S&P is likely to support cryptos as well. It just don't have the same history. This is going back to 1980. So the data is going to be somewhat different on cryptos, but if stocks are supported, I think cryptos will also be more supported. So that's a positive. And then there's another short-term positive. This is in play a few days, already just begun, not too many hours from the recent Bitcoin pullback low. But I mean, this is applicable to S&P, but has been the best data in our recent market environment. I'm measuring that from October 2022. So this is in play most of the week for S&P. So that's another positive. And then there's another interesting change midweek that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will have this in play. And then by Wednesday, we jump to this, again, measuring from October through current. So this is one of the factors that I'm thinking about when I see, well, maybe we have some sideways action, maybe it's some intraday selling, down day Tuesday, nervous hands or something like this. And then people be waiting on the Fed and it's all going to be commentary, but we could just have a massive move resuming the trend on Wednesday, depending on what he says. So we'll just have to see how it shakes out. And then here's an interesting, very short-term edge. I look at Tuesday only. Now, the incidence in this is somewhat lower than the others, but this is strictly intraday Tuesday, have this in play. So this is just a little taste of how I'm the back of the kitchen, so to speak, how I'm concocting all these forecasts. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned with this YouTube and my Tableau Public page, where you can get a glimpse of some of this work that I put up for free. And then I'm putting quick takes up in the morning on my Twitter. So make sure you get alerts for that, because otherwise they're easy to miss. So I think that'll do it for this week. So signing off, before I sign off, best guess, J Powell dovish, cryptos rocket, small cap innovators launch. Yeah, but this is really guesstimate based on J Powell comments, and it could be different. So all for what it's worth, and you've got to take your own trades and manage your own risk. Thank you very much. Have a good day.